Hello and welcome back, and today we're doing something a little different, and I will be doing a Q&A and answering the questions that you sent me last week. So my first two questions are both from Helen Wall, and her first question is, are there any other series that you would recommend now that I've watched The Walking Dead too much? Well, if you ain't exhausted from the zombie genre, I would recommend The Last of Us, but if you are, maybe House of the Dragons or Game of Thrones or something like Westworld. Even though it goes off a little, I would say maybe the first two seasons are worth a watch. Question 2 is, would you rather live in Game of Thrones or The Walking Dead? And I would say The Walking Dead. I definitely would survive longer in The Walking Dead than the Game of Thrones, just because in the Game of Thrones you could die from a war, a lord, a famine, a disease, anything. It is just savage and miserable. You could be anywhere. It is going to be very low chance of survival. However, in the Walking Dead universe, the only real thing you need to worry about are walkers, which are slow, and other people. And really, depending where you are in the Walking Dead universe, you might have just a start. So you might actually get normal life and then the outbreak. I wouldn't survive long in the Walking Dead universe, but I don't think I would survive a bit longer in the Walking Dead universe than the Game of Thrones universe. Number 3 from Yodasai Films. Sorry if I pronounced your name wrong. Would you rather have a suppressed gun or a blade in the apocalypse? And personally, I would go straight for the blade over the gun, just because the gun you need ammo, and the blade has more uses. You can use it as a tool and not just a weapon. You can do so much more with a blade, and I've never really shot a gun before, so my aim would be all over the place. I just feel like a blade is more useful, so that would be my option. Number 4 from Nip Nip. Do you think Rick and Daryl will ever reunite? And personally, I would like it to happen, and the ending of The Walking Dead does really set up Daryl going out to find Rick. However, in the current state of looking at everything, Daryl is currently out in France, and he has a couple seasons over there, and we know the Rick and Michonne show / Summit is in America, and it's only going to be one season, and the whole purpose of that show is to finish off Rick and Michonne's story. And if Daryl wasn't in France and his show was in America, I would say yes, 100% he would have a cameo in Summit, or Rick would have a cameo in the Daryl show. However, because of how far away these characters are, and they're not even in the same country now, I don't see Andrew Lincoln coming back years down the line for the end of the Daryl show for him to be like, oh, they finally reunite. I don't think they will ever reunite on screen. I think maybe they'll hint at it later on, or if they ever do a Next Generation show, they will have maybe say Rick died of old age and Daryl stayed around because he might have a mentor role in that show, and they might mention that they finally reunited, but I don't think we will actually see it, because I just don't see how these two characters are going to meet right now, because this is the last time we're ever going to see Andrew Lincoln as Rick Grimes, and if Daryl is not in that show, Daryl will never meet Rick again. I do think it's quite sad that they might never reunite. However, everything is possible. Maybe they'll throw enough money for him to return as a cameo. He wanted to return for the final episode of The Walking Dead just to be there for the end, so maybe at the end of the Daryl show, that'd be the end of the franchise, he might want to return for a cameo at the end of the Daryl show, but I don't know. I'm just inclined to believe no more than yes at this moment in time. Question 5 from Brian. Why doesn't AMC just do a Walking Dead Infinity War with every single remaining character from all the shows? And I definitely think that would be a great idea for a show. If not a spin-off, a movie, because they have a lot of story to tell and it's been set up through all the shows. I don't really see the Rick and Michonne show finishing off the CRM story and arc. They haven't even got General Beale in it, I don't think, because we would have known if General Beale would be in the show or not by now. And I definitely think in that show it's going to be more focused on Jadis and some more low-level CRM soldiers. So they definitely still have a lot of story of the CRM to tell, and with all the other shows being all out of here focusing on very personal stories, like Dead City's focusing on trying to find Herschel, Daryl's focused on him trying to get home. There's a bit of mystery there. You could sprinkle some CRM stuff in there, but they definitely do need to make a CRM show and bring all the characters back. I don't think it should happen, but I don't think it would, sadly. And I agree with you, it would make so much money if they just go like, this is a one season thing, 10 episodes, every big remaining character. You can have all the reunions in this show, and it would be just this massive show, and it would make so much money. I don't know why they are focused on making these like mediocre shows that we don't really care about, like more Tales of the Walking Dead universe, Tales of the Walking Dead. Give us what we want. We want a big show to be this big grand finale, and this would be a great idea. Moving on to my next question, both Harry and Regent ask, what are your favourite shows / do you have any other favourite shows? I would have to say, outside of the Walking Dead franchise, my favourite shows are either House of the Dragons, Game of Thrones, or Westworld. It is a shame Westworld was cancelled, so that's not going to get its ending. It ends on a cliffhanger, but I'm really looking forward to House of the Dragons Season 2, and I do want to cover that when that eventually comes out next year. Next question is from Otto, and he asks, when did you start watching The Walking Dead? And I definitely started watching this show way too young. I remember back in 2010 trying to sneak into the sitting room to find out what my parents were watching and trying to watch as much as I can before they noticed me at the door and kicked me out. I didn't really start watching fully length episodes until season 2, and then later went back and watched season 1. So I would say properly started watching The Walking Dead was in 2011. I basically grew up watching The Walking Dead. Now, my last question is from JJ. Who is your favourite YouTuber and what inspired you to make videos? And I'll do the second one first. So what inspired me to make videos was Mark and Ethan's Arnest, with them making 360 videos every day for an entire year. And about the end of that 2020, it was like full on COVID and we were all in lockdown in England and we didn't have anything. So I was like, screw it, I'm just going to do it. I have a lot of free time. So I started making videos every day for an entire year. And about halfway, I started doing Walking Dead videos, and that's how I segued into doing Walking Dead, because I found them way more enjoyable to do than the other videos I was making at the time. And for the favourite YouTuber, I don't really have a favourite YouTuber, but I do like to watch Thrifty Typewriter and PewDiePie when I can, so you could say them as currently my favourite YouTubers. And that is my Q&A complete, so make sure to comment down below any more questions that you would like to be answered in the next Q&A video. So make sure to like and subscribe to keep up to date with all things Walking Dead, and click on any of the videos on the screen currently, because you'll find something else you like, guaranteed. But this is it for me today, so goodbye, peace out, and I'll talk to you in my next video.